Hi, my name is Kathleen Ratel, and I am a staffer at the Translation Bureau in Canada. It is a pleasure for me today to be addressing my colleagues from the Asia Pacific region on the topic of remote simultaneous interpretation. I should tell you that today I will be speaking as a member of AIIC and staffer and a former member of the Working Group on Remote Interpreting at the Translation Bureau. However, I am not speaking for the Translation Bureau. Also, I will be telling you about what is happening at the Translation Bureau for those working on Parliament Hill, but I cannot speak for the private market, where, as you know, conditions are quite different. You will most likely have heard about the numerous injuries suffered by interpreters in Canada. And maybe you have even read the article published by the Hill Times on May 6th, where it quoted, and rightfully so, that there were as many incidents reported in April 2020 as there were for the whole of 2019 and the first 3 months of 2020. Those incidents are all related to virtual meetings being held on Parliament Hill. Today, I will be telling you mostly about video conferencing on Parliament Hill. I will not be talking about audio remote interpreting and audio conferencing, two services that were offered often up until recently. Those services are now rarely being offered. If you are interested in the topic and in our experience with those two modes of interpreting, I would encourage you to go watch the presentation made by Linda Ballantyne, president of AIIC Canada at Prims London in January 2018. With regard to video conferencing, it was not so commonly used before COVID. Every now and then, a witness would appear via Skype, for example. But with COVID, it is used every day. There are many parliamentary committees that are meeting remotely via Zoom, and interpreters are called upon to interpret those. As a matter of fact, everything is done remotely these days on Parliament Hill. Excuse me. We work in a booth from Parliament Hill with a technician on site, one interpreter per booth, and Zoom is linked up to a regular interpreting console. And all MPs and witnesses are participating remotely from their homes or their official office. MPs and witnesses are strongly encouraged to wear a headset with an integrated microphone and to use a cabled internet connection, as Wi-Fi is unreliable, as we know. Sound tests are carried out before every meeting, and interpreters are asked for feedback to assess sound quality for every participant who will be attending the meeting. At that time, interpreters can weigh in and state if there is a problem with the sound quality. At that time, adjustments can be made by participants to improve sound quality. I have to say that no major acoustic shock has been reported ever since the beginning of the virtual parliament. However, interpreters are reporting headaches, earache, tinnitus, undue fatigue, hypersensitivity, trouble concentrating, and trouble sleeping even. Interpreters sometimes are unable to work for the rest of the day, for a day or two, or for a couple of weeks, as they are recovering from fatigue or injury. And this is despite the fact that booth time has been reduced from 6 hours to 4 hours. And in many cases, interpreters are only working 2 hours a day for those virtual meetings. The major issue is toxic sound, that is poor sound quality, because of the lack of proper equipment from participants, or because of background noise, echo, distortion, poor internet connection, for example, etc. As you know, interpreting is very demanding, and being asked to work remotely adds to the cognitive load. And if you add on top of that poor sound quality, then we're left with a very heavily taxed cognitive load. And this leads to undue fatigue. One of the main problems is that not all participants are using a proper headset with an integrated microphone. MPs were sent a headset, and most of them are now using it, more so than at the beginning. And witnesses, however, are not being sent a headset. Therefore, they do not always have proper equipment. The second problem is the internet connection. Most participants will be using Wi-Fi and not the cabled internet connection that is recommended. Most participants are always using Wi-Fi and think it is just good enough. However, unstable internet connection might lead to intermittent sound, and this could really prevent us from hearing correctly whether or not the witness said can or can't, symptomatic or asymptomatic. The other problem is the platform being used. I cannot speak for the Zoom platform itself. I do not have technical information about it. However, I can say that if the platform is not ISO compliant, then chances are that the sound coming into the platform is being compromised. Because of the numerous injuries suffered by interpreters, interpreters are asked or encouraged to interrupt service when sound quality is not good. At first, they were interrupting service if sound was just impossible to interpret with. But because we have seen that exposure to toxic sound might also cause injuries, then interpreters are asked to interrupt service if the sound quality would injure them over a period of 2 hours, for example. We need to raise awareness amongst interpreters about sound quality, and we have been doing that for the past 8 weeks. We have also been, raising awareness with participants to explain why they need to use specific equipment. It's not just a preference, it's actually a matter of health and safety for us. Also, we explain to them why interpreters need better sound quality than most participants. We're multitasking, we're speaking on top of the main speaker. We cannot afford to lose a sentence here or a syllable here and there. When MPs were told that not using the proper equipment could cause injuries, they have quickly started to use the headset they were provided. So the education has worked. The efforts have paid off, things have improved, and there are fewer injuries. And this is thanks to the efforts of interpreters and management as well at the Translation Bureau. However, there's a lot of work still to be done, especially with regard to the sound coming from witnesses. So the takeaways: working with subpar sound quality can be dangerous for your health over time, even when the sound is not catastrophic. Also, it seems that there could be a cumulative effect of being exposed to toxic sound. Then the second takeaway is educate, 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 interpreters and clients alike. With remote, we are forced to learn a new skill, distinguishing between good sound and bad sound. And we have to know how to explain the difference to our clients. Third takeaway, always rest your ears. It's important to rest your ears as an interpreter. But with remote, it's even more important. And long remote assignments should be avoided. Thanks to the numerous AIIC events on RSI, interpreters are becoming increasingly knowledgeable about remote, and that is key. Thank you for your attention.